Welcome to Behind the Wheel, a District 7505 video series. I'm your host, Pete Berthaud, and today we have a very special interview with our current District 7505 District Governor, Steve Neuner. Steve, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Is it okay if I call you Steve? I see you got
Absolutely.
Steven on the screen.
That's perfectly fine.
I've known you for a long time, Steve, and it's a pleasure to finally get this interview on Behind the Wheel underway because people want to hear from District Governor. You know, you've been visiting a lot of the clubs. And so let me just start with our little intro that I normally do, and we're going to get to some questions. The goal of the Behind the Wheel video series is to keep current members informed on upcoming initiatives while also showcasing our district to a broader audience by educating the public about our charitable endeavors. And so today is going to be informative. We want to hear from Steve, hear what he's been getting back from the clubs on some of his visits. And your year has been progressing. We're several months in now, and I know your duties involve visiting all of our 72 Rotary clubs in the district. How are these visits going? Like, has the reception been good? How's your experience been at the clubs?
It's been wonderful, Pete. I'm about 50 out of the 72 clubs that I've visited so far. They're all different. And what's amazing to me is that uniformly I felt welcome. They really appreciate the opportunity to meet with me and to be heard. And I enjoy the conversations with them. What's interesting is that some of the smaller clubs are the most engaged in terms of the people that you meet. The large clubs, of course, have a lot of good things going as well. But what's impressed me is the diversity of the clubs in our district. As I said, they're all different. But also, what's really important that has impressed me so much is that how important and critical the district governor visits are to the strength and effectiveness of our Rotary district. The connection between our clubs and the district is something that absolutely has to be maintained and strengthened. Rotary is a bottom-up organization. Rotary has a corporate structure and levels of organization, but the clubs are the drivers of engagement in their communities. This is where the things happen. So every one of these clubs needs to feel that they are being heard and appreciated, that they matter, and that they're connected to the leaders who understand and advocate for their concerns. I've done a lot of listening. We've talked about a whole bunch of topics and learned a lot from them. And it's been a wonderful experience.
So what has been the primary message you're trying to get across to these clubs during these visits?
Well, my talk centers on our current Rotary theme, the magic of Rotary. And I use it to show these clubs how special they are and how special Rotary is. And also to get them to see some of the ways in which magic happens around them in the day-to-day functioning of a Rotary club. And I really kind of enjoy it. And although I have some things I go over, they're all, each club is a little different. What I do stress is the importance of clubs for outreach, collaboration, reaching outside their club, looking outwards. And some of the clubs have done that very well. I've encouraged clubs, if they wanted to have joint visits. And some of those have been stupendous. You see clubs getting together and they're having a good time together. They're feeding off of each other. They're exchanging ideas. They're energizing each other. I also stress the importance of a welcoming and inclusive approach in their clubs. We all have to bring in different people from our communities. One of the problems that we have in Rotary has been declining membership. That's no secret. Elsewhere in the world, in South Asia, membership is robust. But one of the things that's come out is that even though the population of New Jersey is growing, the number of Rotarians is static or getting smaller. And more importantly, the diversity of our population is not being reflected in our clubs. So I have urged the clubs to look to bring in different people from their community. One club, they asked me a question. They said, what kinds of people should we be looking for as members? And my answer was, you look for people that want service, want community, want the camaraderie of a club, but more importantly, that have new and background, new experiences, new backgrounds.
Yeah.
And what I said is that people that are different than us have a lot to show us and teach us and widen our perspective, because that's what Rotary is all about. So getting people from different walks of life, and then the more important thing is welcome them, and get to understand them. Uh, so it combats some of the clannishness that sometimes develops in clubs, and I'm hopeful that that's something that will grow.
So you're talking about membership, you're talking about bringing people in. And is that the biggest challenge that Rotary clubs face today, or is there something else out there that's a huge challenge for us?
Well, I think membership is the number one challenge. Now, there are clubs that are small members, small but mighty, and they're great. But there's been a lot of clubs that had started with 30 or 40 members and are down to less than 10, because people leave, people die, people move on, and so clubs have to keep on top of membership, and
Mhm.
it's a constant process of development. And and the other thing too is that Rotary has to adapt to a changing world. People are people are a little more far flung in the towns where you have a small, well defined downtown with a business and social community do well. But the problems that Rotary is seeing with membership are not limited to Rotary. Churches, other service organizations all have this problem.
Yep.
So there's two parts to this, and one of the things that I give the clubs is a link to some great programs on making your club irresistible, and a lot of that is basically finding out what people in your community need. When can they meet? How would they like to be engaged or involved? And find ways to accommodate them. But then the other thing is that once members join, because we get people joining Rotary and then leaving Rotary, and a lot of times it's important for clubs not to take their new members for granted. One of the things I encourage clubs to do is to treat their new members as hidden gems. What is it that they what is it that they love to do? What is it you don't know about them? And maybe if a new member has a hobby or something that they love to do, like video casting, you get them involved in doing that. And what you've done is you've taken a new member and you've given them the job they love. So it's a matter of keeping the members engaged, involved, and keeping them feeling welcome. And some of this is some of the things that Rotary does, like acronyms. We have more acronyms than the military. And sometimes if you're a new member, we're talking about PDGs and this, that, and the other thing. Nobody knows what you're talking about. So that's important. And then the other thing is membership is no longer mandatory as it used to be. And that means that a lot of members who are otherwise good members don't always attend. I think the average attendance is about 50% of the members. So we have to, as part of making the club irresistible, have good programs, bring in people from the community, bring in community leaders, bring in people that can show us things that are going on. I think a really good club has something interesting each meeting for their members. And sometimes you have these great discussions. In my club, we have these great discussions, and it's illuminating, and we all share our ideas respectfully. So we have to keep everybody engaged and involved.
I think what you're trying to say in so many words is the culture needs to be good in the clubs. You want to have an inviting culture that people want to come to every 2 weeks, every week, whenever you meet, and not dread the meeting or like, I don't feel like going. Like, you want people to look forward to going to these club meetings. And I know that I look forward to ours. I feel like in our club, I'm a member of the Marlton Rotary Club. We have a good culture, but it can always be better, and it can always be more fun and more desirable. Now, you need to make sure you're doing the work that us Rotarians are trying to do, which is serve the community. But having some fun and having, a good culture is also vitally important. So I really appreciate you making that point. And on your hidden gems point, that goes back to the core of Rotary, right? Like we used to, you had a member who was this profession and this profession and this profession, and they all brought something to the table. Well, now that's not quite as strict, but it's still important to find people's strengths and make sure they are shown within the club and are able to be brought to light in front of everyone and leaned into. You find something that one of your club members is good at and maybe no one else is, and lean into that and utilize them for that. And I think that's another really important message that you just brought up.
And I think to pick up on that, the clubs cannot take anything for granted. So they have to be engaged and keep people engaged. One of the other things they have to do, and this is something I talk about a lot, is that Rotary develops members through essentially marketing and sales, but that's one-on-one. It's developing a relationship. So a new member or prospective new member may be somebody that you meet in the community, or it may be a friend, and you have to develop that relationship, and clubs have to develop relationships with new and interesting people, and then they have to understand that process doesn't happen instantaneously. And we don't really teach salesmanship or the basics of how to sell to our Rotary members, and I think some of them, as a result, don't like to do it, or they're afraid to do it. I think as a result, the clubs miss opportunities. But that's a conversation for a wider audience and a broader audience.
I know what you mean. We always want to be expanding on the benefits of being in Rotary and the what it brings into your life, in a way, and that is sales, right? Like that's what we're trying to do is make sure people know what Rotary is and know about the benefits and why it's great.
I can't tell you the number of people who have told me that Rotary is my life. It's become an intrinsic part of their social life and their life in the community. Yep. So it's really important to people that are committed Rotarians, and people that are new. Very often, they need to see this, and they need to learn about it. And then essentially get the Rotary bug. It takes a while, but if you start with a friendly group of people and you roll up your sleeves and you do things together, you get that sense that I belong, I'm important, and that's why the district governor visits are so terribly important.
So every district governor goes into their year with goals that they're trying to accomplish. What were your goals for this year, and how do you think that they're progressing?
Well, obviously trying to expand membership, inspire our clubs and our members. I'm working, Rotary's research has shown that membership growth in a district or a community happens largely because you develop new clubs, which is not always that easy. But I've been working on helping clubs develop satellite clubs or new clubs to bring in people that are not currently in Rotary. Two examples are veterans. We're working with a district project to involve veterans in helping with food insecurity, which is a big problem around some of our bases. And also, one of our amazing hidden gems is a doctor in Summers Point who works in a hospital, and she's working on a group of her physician and medical care colleagues to get them involved. So we have a project with them.
Very nice.
Which I'm looking to do that because I think that if people outside of Rotary get to know us and see what we're about and see the important, the wonderful things about Rotary and the international friendships and exchange that you have, they will join Rotary. They just need to see it in action. Okay, so that's one goal. I also wanted to find and bring in new talent into the leadership team. We've brought in some new and wonderfully skilled people. And in that regard, I'm careful to bring in people from all over the district. 5 years ago, we did a merger with the old District 7500, and over the past 5 years, our district governors and everybody has been working on building a sense of collegiality and camaraderie among those different groups, so they don't feel that they It's us versus them, that we're all in this together. So I've been bringing in some wonderful new people from especially Monmouth County and elsewhere. The other thing that's important to me is our assistant governors. I think the assistant governors were an overlooked resource for many years. The assistant governors are critical to how our clubs and our district function.
Yeah.
They are the people that are the intermediary between club district and club leadership, and they also learn what the clubs are doing. They're a resource. They're problem solvers. I have worked very hard to enhance the prestige and role of the assistant governors. What I've said is that you do this job and, well, you are a Rotary superhero. And what has been gratifying to me is that our assistant governors, almost all of them, have stepped up to the role. And I think as a result, they're helping me, they're helping the district. I've said to many people that as a district governor, I'm just a temporary caretaker of this district for 1 year. The assistant governors are there year after year. They have training. They have access to all the district governors, assistant governors. They have a lot of really good ideas and experience, and they are so important to our district. And then finally, just to continue the steady progress of making our district one of the best run and best managed in the Rotary world. We've fixed a few things. We got our bylaws updated so that they're now complete and well organized and readable. They were okay before, but that was back in 2019. They were a little incomplete, and so we've done that, and that's been a product of 8 months of work with a whole team of wonderful people. And then a few other minor things that we're dealing with financially and tax-wise, minor stuff, but we're getting our books in order. Everything should be in totally shipshape.
So do you think we're on a path to accomplishing all those things that you mentioned? You kind of hinted at it, but I'm hoping the answer is yes.
Oh yeah, that is. You go in, and somebody said to me, if you accomplish three goals in your year as governor, you've done a lot. So I feel like I've already accomplished 3, but there's more work to be done. We face a lot of changes in the works, and we'll see how that works.
So you've held a lot of positions in Rotary over the years, and just as recently district governor as your current role. What would you tell someone who is thinking about stepping into a bigger role one day, such as an assistant governor or a district governor?
Well, I think first of all, you don't do it for ego. You do it because you want to serve and you want to make the world a better place. Here's what I will say is that if you step into this role, you are going to have to do some learning. You're going to have to educate yourself. You're going to expand your Rotary knowledge, but that's a good thing. But here's where the real benefit of it is. You become part of a team of wonderful people, and you develop friendships that will last you a lifetime. And as you do the work, you will have that sense of helping other Rotarians in a way that you don't get anywhere else. And I would say that if you do it for the right reasons and you're willing to give the role the time and energy it deserves, you will be rewarded. People, I've heard time and again from people in Rotary leadership that I got more out of Rotary than I ever gave it. But of course, these are people that were, they were top-notch people. So I think that you'll have personal growth in knowledge, and an enormous sense of satisfaction. And there's a level of prestige, because when you're an assistant governor or a district governor or a past district governor, you are respected. And but that's not the reason to get into it. The reason to get into it is because it's something you want to do, and you believe it's a worthwhile use of your time.
And I do agree with you on the idea of just my roles that I've had in Rotary over the years, whether that be club president or helping out with this show and all that kind of thing. There is a sense of satisfaction, but it also brings a lot of enjoyment, and it makes you part of a community. And that's why some people join Rotary in the first place. They might like to serve, but it's also nice to be a part of something bigger than yourself. And so I would encourage anyone to get involved with a larger role. Like if you feel like you maybe are outgrowing what you can give to your club, maybe you can help the district in some way. But yeah, that's some great advice there, Steve. And I think that's just about all the questions I have for you. Do you have any final comments or concerns you wanted to
Well,
voice?
I think we've covered all the basics at this point.
Okay.
There's a lot of things in our district that are going to be exciting moving forward, and uh, we will uh, we will see. Rotary is always changing, but I have so enjoyed the role. Now, I will tell you, there's one thing that I am really looking forward to. Our next, I have a district conference in Cherry Hill in May, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing something a little different. It's going to be local, easy to get to, relatively inexpensive. It's $140 a night, but we're going to have some great programs and some interesting excursions we can do. But on top of that, there is going to be a Rotary International Convention in Calgary in June of 2025. If you've never been to an international convention, it is an experience. The programs are astounding. You run into and you rub shoulders with a whole bunch of people from all over the world. Typically, there's 15 to 25,000 people there, and you'll see so many things. Plus, Calgary is going to be an exciting city in June,
Yeah.
and we're very much looking forward to it. So those are all good things.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peter. Thank
I'm
you.
looking forward to the district conference this year. Being in South Jersey, it is local and affordability is always nice, right? No one's going to complain about that. And we're close to Philadelphia. The beach is only an hour away. There's lots of opportunities for people to have some fun. So that will be great. Steve, thank you so much for being here today. I think this was a good way to get your face and your message out to the district. And if there's nothing else, until next time, this has been Behind the Wheel.
Thank you, Peter.